At the end of this song, we'll get the stream started. We've got everything ready, I think.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty Abernathy, a show starring a binary trans woman born in the body of a non-binary atheist, trade unionist, equality advocate, and anarcho syndicalist that self-identifies as an unhinged beer pimp, outraged brigade commander, free speech police officer, SJW, and a bad faith agent of chaos.
Well, normally I would mess around and tell you to go to teapartypodcast.com. But tonight we have a guest, a special guest. And this is all centered around J.K. Rowling and her recent doxing. Welcome, David and George Joan P in the chat. I'm just trying to get my proverbial stuff together. All right. I'm actually going to do something tonight because this is the show you get when I do. This is the show you get when I do. Oh God. Yes, we can see that. I can play those from here. I've got some videos that I'm basically going to play in a Telegram window because I didn't have a chance to download them. So just to give some perspective, I'm going to bring on Natasha Kennedy, Dr. Natasha Kennedy, I believe. Okay, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. We have sound. We have everything's working. So I'm just going to jump right in. I want you to just introduce yourself, tell our audience who you are and what you do, and kind of I'll give a little bit of an introduction as far as what we're here for.
Okay, yes. I'm Dr. Natasha Kennedy. That's a PhD, not an MD. I'm an academic at Goldsmiths College in London. I research and publish about trans people and about transphobia and stuff like that. I teach all sorts of things, sociology and education studies and film studies and stuff like that. Yeah, I live in London, and I enjoy travelling, which is not very good at the moment, is it? But there we go.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that since I'm living in the UK and traveling to Brazil in January and
Oh, that's
the
nice.
States in April. Yeah.
Touch wood, I'm hoping to go to Japan very soon, but I have to see.
So the reason why we're here tonight is because apparently J.K. Rowling has been doxxed. Can you believe that? I want to play a few videos. I'm going to switch here to my little player here. This one this is probably the one that gets me the most. Oh, why is that opening? That's opening in another one. Oh, I'll just bring that over here. Oh.
Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to say that doxing people is not okay. That being said,
it says, how can J.K. Rowling claim to be doxxed when her house is literally on a public government website as a landmark? So what's incredible about this, honestly, is the fact that there are trans people that get doxxed all the time, and some pretty outrageous doxing. And what I found interesting, because actually, let's go back to that. You had a tweet this morning. You said, unlike many gender critical transphobes, including J.K. Rowling, I have never doxed anyone, nor have I advocated doxing or supporting people doxing anyone. Quote, gender critical transphobes are now targeting me, an ordinary member of the public, without the security Rowling has. I wonder how many newspapers / journalists will condemn this threat by transphobes. My guess is not many.
Yes.
But this isn't the first time you've been attacked by transphobes. You've literally been dissected and been the focus of TERFs before.
Yeah.
There's not a word is said about it.
Well, it comes with the territory. Doesn't mean I accept it, but what it does show is that TERFs are gender critical transphobes, is the word I use, are totally hypocritical about it. I don't have, like I said, I don't have security guards, high hedges and fences like Rowling has. I don't have multiple properties. I think, somebody else responded today, and I think this is I share the sentiment, is that trans people generally don't dox transphobes a great deal, because we know they've got relatives, other people living there and that sort of thing. And, so we're a bit sensible about it, I guess. But, they seem to be quite attached to anything like that. Any way they can attack trans people, they can, and they do. And I mean, I think I've got another pet theory about this as well, but it just shows that they are completely, everything is completely one-sided. Media is one-sided. Their views of things are one-sided. I know there are a whole long list of trans people they've doxed and things like that, and nobody's lifted a finger. That the usual media outrage machine hasn't noticed.
Yeah, we can't forget, what was it, Lily?
okay, so
Sorry about that.
right off the
What was it, Lily Meadows?
Lucy Meadows. Yeah.
Lucy Meadows, literally a journalist, like essentially doxed her, and
Primary school teacher she was.
yes, and literally she committed suicide.
Yeah. The coroner was scathing about the role of the media in that as well. So it does cost people lives, and she didn't have high hedges. She didn't have security guards. She had to get up at the crack of dawn to get into her school where she worked and climb over the back wall of her house and creep into the school at 7 o'clock in the morning to do her job. We had.
But
I find it. Go on.
Well, I was going to say, I find it over and over and over again. It's like there are a few voices in the alternative media, people like Ash Sakar, and other, I would say, alternative media sources that will stand up for us. But even like literally the Guardian, like, is being chastised by the U.S. version about how they're transphobic.
Yes.
This is the liberal newspaper in the UK.
Liberal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it blows my mind. But because as an American that came over here, I came over here in 2016, in June of 2016, if that reminded you of a certain date. Yeah. 2 weeks before Brexit. It's been a wild ride, but seeing how conservative the press is here has really shocked me. Because
I had a contact with an American on Twitter at one point, and she wanted to kind of understand what was going on with the media in the UK. And the only way I could describe it was that just imagine if every mainstream media platform was Fox News.
yes.
In the way it dealt with trans people, transphobia. That is, and she got it. That seemed to be the way it is, though, isn't it?
I think it's such a weird thing, because I find British people to be very liberal and very well, even with this toxic media culture that we live in, most people still support us.
Yeah,
that's the incredible thing.
I guess people must be used to it by now, you know.
But it's so shocking to me, because I mean, it's not just trans people. I mean, you have the leader of the second most popular party in this country being called an anti-Semite in the media. This is a guy that literally like protested for human rights when he was on the backbench, and and he's now a bigot and a terrorist. They take the royal family, somebody like Harry and Meghan, and literally those people leave this country because they feel unsafe.
Yes.
Like no one is safe. There's, I mean, even the most powerful, unless you're a conservative, Boris Johnson, you can do anything. You can mess up COVID. I mean, and there's no accountability ever.
That's because of the media, though, isn't it?
It's such an old boy network. I've never seen anything like it. Like even before I came to this country, I would listen to LBC a lot. I'm sorry. But I like James O'Brien a lot, but
yeah, he's good.
But like the tenor of a lot of the hosts that they would have, it kind of made me realize how the media here is. I used to think when when Princess Diana died, I used to think that there was like two sets. Like in America, there really is like this tabloid news where like literally you'll go in and you'll see like in the supermarkets there's just a rack of tabloid news, and you get the really weird World Weekly News where UFOs and Elvis sightings and that kind of thing. But then like in a whole nother section, you have the legitimate newspapers. You have the Washington Post, and it's a totally separate kind of thing. Here, it's not that way. Like I'll go into my local corner shop, and there's like literally papers stacked, and I've seen Jeremy Corbyn being portrayed as a Russian, like
that was the BBC, wasn't it? I think
all kinds of just really toxic, really, and like I said, the royal family. You would think that's the most benign part of this culture. They have the Queen doesn't have a lot of power. They have a lot of money, but they don't have that much political power.
I think she's got nearly as much money as J.K. Rowling.
That can't, but that's what that is the irony here. And what I find interesting is literally I don't think we're particularly special. I think we are part of the go-to for the right. This is a right-wing media, and I repeatedly have said this: TERFs are conservative.
Oh yeah, very much so. They're very conservative, I think.
And I don't mean small c. I mean in the back pocket of this government, and even when you look at like Theresa May, this government is way to the right of Theresa May. And because I spoke to my union as part of the TUC, and I spoke at the TUC LGBT conference towards where I was talking about passing GRA reforms, and I said it was ironic how a lot of the TERFs were basically to the right of Theresa May and her woman at the time. I think it was Penny Tarrant. I think I forget her name, but she was the woman's equality minister.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
and she was supportive of the reforms. But this, unfortunately, Brexit, I think, has brought in a lot of socially conservative people like David Davies and the like that are like socially conservative as opposed to, the traction that these people that are kind of like the LBC, but even to the right of those people, like GB News. Do you know what I mean?
They need to keep deploying culture wars to distract from how crap everything else is, how badly Brexit is going, and stuff like that. It's very much it's look over there, that's what it is. And we happen to be the ones who are in the firing line at the moment. But then there was, I thought it was quite interesting with a couple of days ago an article in The Guardian, not about us, but about sex workers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was by, I forget the name now, the journalist, but she's quite well known for doing anti-trans stuff. And she wrote this whole thing about how we should bring in this Nordic model that's very anti-sex worker and this sort of thing. And she didn't talk to any sex workers. We need to protect the sex workers, but we're not going to talk to them. And that's just exactly what's been going on in The Guardian with trans people. But the rest of the media as well, hermetically sealing us out. I think that one of the people I follow on Twitter had put together this amazing, it was like tour dates poster for Kathleen Stock, and it was like the farewell tour. And it had by dates, it had all the places she'd been interviewed, you know, the Times and the Guardian and BBC and all that sort of stuff. And there were about 50 different media appearances on that. And I thought, if you go back for the last 3 years, there probably haven't been 50 different media appearances by trans people in total in that time. You know, we've got Ugla Stefania in the media and Jane Fay and one or two others, but very, very few. I doubt if there were 50 trans people, articles by trans people in the media in the last 3 years.
You would think with the people that scream about we need to listen to both sides, that they would listen to both sides. They have
no, they want to listen to one side and a stereotyped version of someone ventriloquizing the other side.
By the way, was this what you were talking about? Sex sells is highly dangerous. Treating it like a regular job only makes it worse.
Yeah, I think that was the one. Yeah,
Sonia Sada. Yeah. Because this person said it is so utterly depressing and draining that week after week, The Guardian continues to publish poorly researched and under-referenced pieces about sex work, which hit every single cliche and are full of outright lies. Shadowy heels on the street?
yes.
Extremely bad summary of the arguments for and against decriminalization? Check. Completely incorrect and disingenuous framing of pro-decriminalization arguments as being around empowerment and sexual positivity? Check. Pointless mention of Pretty Woman? Check. Thinly veiled xenophobia? Check. And this one gets me. Quoting Julie Bendel's book, which is academically very bad? Check. When I say bad, I mean it has 4 pages of references for a full-length academic book, most of which are pro-decriminalization campaigners she's disagreeing with. I'd be embarrassed to submit something like that for publication. So, it's so funny how often we see the in our community. I hear a lot of people say, "Scratch a turf, find a bigot," and how often that is the case. You have, turfs are regularly swerfs, and we've seen was it Joni Walsh that was engaging in xenophobia? I mean, you can go down the line, and it's
racism, sexism, the whole shooting match.
It's just never questioned. And something else that really bothers me in this is, so if I made the comment tonight that I have received thousands of death threats, people online would say, "Can you back that up?" But literally they just get this free ride. It's assumed that it's the truth. I have a question. Why aren't these people being prosecuted? The ones that are making death threats?
Absolutely. I mean, somebody did a bit of research a little while ago. Someone quoted all these, screenshots of all these Twitter accounts and things like that. It was supposed to be making threats, and nobody knew any of them. None of them were linked up to anybody else in the trans community. Almost all of them had disappeared very quickly after the threats had been made. It does make you question, doesn't it? What who was actually doing this? Who benefits from having those screen caps? What it is that anybody on the far right, really, they actually don't want to talk about the core issues. They want to talk about peripheral things to try and present their enemy in a bad light, and that's what it's about. I think there was some images like this in the New European, which I was quite disgusted had published a gender critical person in their pages, but no one seems to chase these accounts up, and I suspect that that speaks volumes. The fact that people can make anybody, and that the transphobes are very, very adept at doing this, having multiple accounts, aren't they? Sock puppet accounts. So it's about time someone investigated these. Wasn't it Rosie Duffield? She said, "Oh, I've had all these death threats." Did she report them to the police? Yes. No.
Yeah. Why aren't the police investigating if J.K. Rowling has been doxxed, which she has been as doxxed as fucking Elvis.
Yes.
It's like saying, "Oh my God, you told someone where Elvis is buried? Oh my God." It's not like everybody doesn't fucking know that. They have tours.
Yes.
If you go on tours, because all the Harry Potter people, they go on tours, and her house is part of that tour. Driving by it.
You can Google it and find its postcode.
There's a literal Wikipedia page.
Yes.
How can you dox someone that has a Wikipedia page of their house? It's absolutely absurd. But I thought this was really, really telling. Because speaking of GB News,
literary extraordinaire J.K. Rowling has been forced to contact police after 3 transgender rights activists revealed where she lived on social media, prompting fears for the safety of her and her children. Writing on Twitter, Rowling said, "Last Friday, my family's address was posted on Twitter by 3 activist actors who took pictures of themselves in front of our house. I've now received so many death threats that I could paper the house with them. Her only crime, defending women's rights over trans activist bullies." In an essay, she wrote,
"Well, I love this. They talk about trans. They always refer to the either TRMs or TRAs, and it's this cabal, this powerful. We have all this lobbying power in Parliament and in these places, and I would, I've never do you know of any MP that's trans? I'm not aware of any.
2 in Germany. 1 in Belgium. There's 1 in Chile now. There has never been a trans member of Parliament, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So
where does all that political power that we have, that secret political power that we have?
Must be kind of magic or something.
It's just like it's weird. It's like politicians want to support basic human rights. It's shocking. But I do think that it's telling. Like, for those of you in America, GB News is like to the right of Fox News, I would say.
It's got about 5 viewers, hasn't it, or something?
Well, actually, the way they calculate viewers, there are many times when they have 0.
Yes.
Like, effectively, they have 0 viewers. But I want to continue this. I want to play the rest
last year, which turned out to be controversial to some. The author expressed concerns that the increasingly unreasonable demands of the transgender movement were taking precedent over issues of women's rights and safety. Which I find hilarious because they never are specific about what rights.
Yes. What unreasonable demands? You mean to be treated like human beings? Shock horror.
Sex-based rights. It's always about fear. It's never about the actual harm that they're saying that somehow magically we cause just by our existence.
Yes. I mean, I just, one of the things that made me think about her talking about papering her house with death threats or whatever. I've just been doing the Trans Day Remembrance. I used to do it long ago and I haven't been doing it for a long time. It's too stressful and I'm not sure whether it's appropriate anymore. But I just organised Trans Day Remembrance outside the BBC this year because they decided to broadcast a hate article in Brazil, in Brazilian Portuguese, which is the country where there are more trans murders than anywhere else. And I read
42% this year of all the murders on the list are from Brazil.
And we read out 375 names of people, trans people who've been murdered in the last year. Tip of the iceberg, there are whole swathes of the globe where there's no data. But you can probably bet your ass that none of those received any death threats at all. You know, a lot of them were drive-by shootings. They were burnt-out corpses in ditches, stonings, stabbings. I think a third of them were murdered in their own homes. You know, so when she complains about death threats, which I've yet to see evidence about, I think about, well, what about those people who didn't get death threats?
Well, and two, I mean, it's not like, I mean, so I founded transadvocate.com and I no longer am the editor, which Kristen Williams is, and she's done a fantastic job with taking what I built and just went a lot further. But like I would get, I mean, besides getting attacked on the regular by Kathy Brennan, which was awesome when she came over here and got kicked out of a gay bar. But
oh yes, I think I was there. Yes.
but in the States we called her the fake goth, because she would literally, if her name was mentioned, she would get you banned on Twitter. But but where was I going with that? Shit. Now I got Kathy Brennan on my but I would literally on the regular, I literally had somebody like one time like photoshopped my face on someone getting raped. And like that is not unusual when you're I mean people oh God, what's her name? I forget her first name. Montgomery.
Katie.
Yes. She gets horrible attacks on her on the regular. Joss.
That's Brian, yeah.
I mean, these people literally get vile attacks against them and their person every single day that they are online and they are speaking. They have people attacking them, and that's never talked about.
No.
You know, especially in the mainstream British press. And I'm sorry, but like this here, like that is the extreme, but it is not unusual.
No.
So, really, the only answer we have is to create our own sources that, especially, like I said, people like Ash, that will be strident, and the abuse that anybody that is trans gets online is almost as bad when a cis person unknowingly supports trans people online, and man, I mean, they get dogpiled.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it's worse for cis people.
We're kind of used to it. I mean, I've been at this for 20 years. I'm sort of used to. I'm numb to it.
I mean, anybody has a go at me, I automatically put them into transphobe blocker at transphobe B. You know, that's it. I mean, hopefully by now people know I do not discuss, I do not debate with transphobes any more than I would debate with a racist or an anti-Semite or whatever. I just do not debate with them. And I think that's the attitude to take. Just, no, sorry, you're not worth debating, not worth talking to.
Well, and there was a piece, a guy named, I think his name is M.A. Maxon. He goes by Julius Goat on Twitter, wrote a great piece about why some people should be deplatformed, why some people shouldn't have platforms. And it's like, the example I always use is the Jewish question. This question's been asked since 1945, and it's never answered. You know, you have these debates about something that is historical. It's a fact. We know it's happened. There's no debating this. It should never be debated. Again, when you're talking about people's human rights, it's not something that should fucking be debated. Like, it's just common sense, because the only thing you do when you platform someone like this, they automatically have won. They automatically have won because you've given their argument legitimacy. Like, I would never give someone a platform to say, did the Holocaust really happen? Because A, we know that it did. It's a fact. It's a historical fact that has been debated to death. I mean, we literally have museums full of artifacts from this event.
I used to take school parties around Dachau. You know,
I mean, it's not, but there are people that still to this day want to debate that topic, and it's not.
Isn't one of the people who's at Austin Mickey Mouse University or something? One of those the Holocaust denier. One of the going to be a colleague of Kathleen Stock. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I know that it's not Douglas Murray. Oh God, who is it? They're all kind of IDW somewhere aligned, And this is what I'm getting to with playing this video. I think it's important to listen. I want to play some more of it, actually.
She also expressed concerns about children being encouraged to transition. Perfectly reasonable concerns.
This.
When you have to say perfectly reasonable, you know it's not reasonable.
Well, and the thing is with this, again, you're talking about something. If you look at the studies that have been done, if kids are allowed to transition, we're not talking about hormones. We're not talking because you don't give children hormones. Think about when you went through puberty. That's when you give hormones. You don't even you give blockers. You don't even really give hormones. But that being said, literally the odds of the suicide rates, they go from extreme when you don't let a child transition to exactly the same as cis kids.
Olsen et al. 2016, I think that was. Research, really good quality peer-reviewed research that they just, there's virtually no difference in stress levels and things like that between trans kids who socially transition and cis kids. Literally nothing.
It reminds me a lot of the abortion debate, because like family planning and like abstinence does not work. It's been proven. What works is family planning and abortion access. And these people don't care about actual abortions. They don't care about actual mothers or children or babies. They want to control people's bodily autonomy, what they do with their bodies. They want to, I mean, it's essentially supportive of patriarchy.
I think I've been looking at, I've just started reading a book by a couple of Polish academics who are feminist academics, and they are talking about the resistance movement now in Poland, which is very much intersectional feminist, and they're completely LGBT inclusive, because they realize they're fighting the same battles as us. You know, the Polish government has been very anti-LGBT, and now they've brought in laws to prevent abortion. It's the same people doing the same things, and it's about bodily autonomy, and they've realized that they're on the same side, and this kind of intersectional feminist activism is spreading. It's going throughout Eastern Europe and South America and places like that. I mean, you saw the kind of uprising in Colombia was led by trans women, isn't it? You know, it's, so I think that's the way forward, is linking up with real intersectional feminists and working that way.
Well, and in Northern Ireland, when abortion was legalized, I thought what no one talked about was they were supportive of trans women, and trans women stood up for. I mean, they were that, and you know, we aren't saying that trans women stood up and led the marches and everything, but we were there. We were in solidarity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's about bodily autonomy. I mean, it's a core.
At the same time, there were a whole load of I remember a whole load of British gender critical transphobes who were opposing the legalizing abortion in Ireland, which kind of suggests they aren't really feminists.
They are conservatives.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you look at and a lot of this a lot of this I've documented on Trans Advocate UK. I've documented as far as like if you look, they are conservative. I mean, this is just one example. I posted this and I meant it somewhat as a joke, but it's true. And that is they use the same type of let me see. Here we go. I said which because this is anti-abort. Oh, am I? Hold on. I'm not looking at my own screen right now. Okay, let's switch this over. It said which of these groups are radical conservative activists, and you've got your abortion signs here, and then there's Posey Parker. I mean, literally the same type of signage, the same. I mean, trick question. They all are conservatives, all of them. They use the same signage. They use the same type of tactics.
I mean, I'm starting to think actually they're not conservatives; they're fascists. If you think of fascism, isn't really an ideology; it's a mode of action. And if you look at it that way, that's what they're doing. So yeah, they're doing fascism. They're excluding people from the media. They're fear mongering. They're linking up with other fash, and certainly they're linking up with the extreme right of the Republican Party, the extreme right in Eastern Europe. Putin supports them. They're fash.
I mean, it was pretty bad when you had Linda Bellows go over to the United States to stand with the American Family Association, in being against LGBT inclusive legislation. Not just going there, but making a speech in front of the court. Like it, I mean, they literally, and I mean, just like this, Posey Parker appeared with a French Canadian white nationalist. And this isn't the first fucking time for that either. You know? I mean,
when you got Julie Bindel writing in The Spectator, I mean, there's very few newspapers that are further right than The Spectator in this country.
You're literally talking about a magazine that a publication that posts Rod Little's pablum.
Yes.
I mean, wasn't he charged with assaulting a girlfriend?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a nice fella, and on the routine, they are posting some of the most vile, right-wing content that you find in this country, and she writes there. She writes in Quillette.
Yes.
Debbie Hayton writes there too. Coincidence? So I definitely think again, it's something not surprising. I do want to play this.
She's since been the target of a hate-fueled campaign by radical LGBTQ plus lunatics.
Radical. We're asking for human rights. We're lunatics for asking for basic human rights and to keep legislation in place that's literally not had any effect on cis women's rights at all.
Yeah. I think that newsreader she just really doesn't sound like she believes at all in what she's saying, does she?
Well, this is definitely a script.
Yeah.
A crusade that many would mentally cripple from. And as Posey Parker writes in The Spectator, if
As Posey Parker writes in The Spectator.
Yum. Yes. Well, they have the quality journalists, don't they?
Oh my God. I mean, you can't make
activists
this
can get
up.
to one of the richest women in the world, make no mistake, they can silence Janet at number 52, who risks not paying the mortgage if she loses her job. This is why standing with Rowling is so important for everyone who wants to live in a decent, civil society, which is tolerant of other people's views. I believe the biggest threat to women speaking up for their rights is no longer men. It's fast becoming trans activist bullies who want to silence, harass, and burn women they disagree with at the stake.
At the stake.
Oh. Jesus.
This is, and I said the other day, because she actually makes a good point saying that they're going to be on the right side of history. And I do believe they are going to be on the right side, right wing side. For all those people that sit there and say, no, I'm a leftist, I'm in a union, that doesn't mean anything. You're still a conservative. You're still supporting the fash.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, if this doesn't surprise anyone, I don't know.
The question comes, do people really want to live in a society where a small group of people are legally repressed, where there are laws preventing us from living our lives? That kind of thing, they may think it will only affect trans people, but it won't. It'll open the floodgates. It'll make everybody else feel insecure, which is why the fash are doing this.
Well, and you can see this in the States. In fact, M.A. Melby in the chat said, you can't be a liberator through oppression. That's not how it works.
Good point, yeah.
Policing trans women, by policing trans women, you are policing all women. And I think that's a magnificent point. I do find this frustrating, but at the same time, it pushes me, because when I came over to this country, I had kind of given up on, because I got burnt out with trans advocacy, but I got back into it because when I was over here, I was like, well, there's a void. I think there are people like Sean Fay and other trans voices that are standing up, but I think there needs to be a lot more people that are visible and making the arguments.
I think we're starting to get some newer, younger trans activists coming through. I think probably maybe a few months ago, a year ago, the number of really active trans activists was tiny. But now we're seeing a whole lot of new, younger, really clued up, really intelligent trans activists, and they're showing they can do really good stuff. They're learning the ropes really quickly, I think. And so there's a group of younger trans people organising a big demo outside the BBC on the 8th of January in protest against that horrible article and the way it was broadcast to Brazil. So I think they're organising it much better than I would. They've got people doing signers and that sort of thing. So they're being properly inclusive rather than my hastily quick, let's do this sort of one. But again, I think people need to focus on the kind of activism that it centers our concerns. Not centers that doesn't worry about, we shouldn't worry about personalities. if we don't worry about J.K. Rowling, then she will disappear into her own irrelevance. This is why I've started doing activism, focusing on the media, focusing on the Guardian, the BBC, at least to start with. And you know, I started off protesting about the Guardian censoring Judith Butler. Now, the Guardian censoring Judith Butler, an academic. A few years ago, they had loads and loads of articles about how academics were somehow being censored and silenced by people like us. Yeah, we got all that power, haven't we? I mean, we're all vice chancellors of universities and stuff like that, you know. And now they are at there. Nobody can actually produce. I'm sure nobody could produce a text by a anti-trans academic that has been censored. But we have got a text by a trans academic, a non-binary academic, that has been censored by the Guardian. So we need to focus on saying, right, we need to be given the right to speak. Yeah? Just like I was telling what Sonia Soda or something, not allowing sex workers to speak in her article about sex workers, we should be saying, no, right, we should be writing articles about trans stuff. If they're allowing anti-trans campaigners to write articles about us, we should be able to write articles about us as well.
Well, I think the hardest part about that is cracking into, because they literally have the market cornered, and we can get our voices out around the edges in places like Novara Media and the Canary and other places like that, Double Down News. But I really do find it frustrating and hard to know exactly how, because there are literally no levers in this country, Ofcom or what is it? IPOS News, Ipso, like they're toothless. Like, first off, you have to join this group. It's not something that really has any kind of teeth to it, and they routinely aren't really fair on our. It's not an even thing. Like,
no.
And do you see any way of us breaking through that?
I think we have to keep on focusing our protests on that. I think trans people need to focus on the media, and even just getting some form of inclusion of us in somewhere like the Guardian. I mean, the Independent isn't that bad. The iPaper is okay, and obviously Novara Media. We're starting to get a little bit of representation in Byline Times now. I think we just have to keep going at it. I think they can't carry on ignoring us if we focus on it. And we should forget about J.K. Rowling. She's irrelevant. We don't want to personalise it. We want to focus on the issues, not the personalities. Well, they want to focus on the personalities.
When we focus on the personalities, we literally get lost in some of the most arcane and just I can't believe, like, literally they're saying that Kathleen Stock or Pierce Morgan has been canceled. They both literally fucking canceled themselves.
Yes.
They quit. They weren't fired. They quit.
Yeah. I suspect one of them is going to end up at a university that doesn't exist. Yeah. Or at least there'll just be her and Mickey Mouse there, you know. It exists. Its campus is a filing cabinet in an attorney's office, you know.
Well, to be honest with you, I think that's that's literally just, I mean, a grift that is trying to produce itself and trying to surf these. This is literally. There's a columnist. I'm not sure how I pronounce his name, but I think it's Barry Deutsch, and he did. He did. He did.
Oh yes, that yes.
He did this comic. We're dropping your column. Too many readers think you're extreme. I have been silenced. And then he goes up on stage. I have been silenced. Washington Post. I have been silenced. Here with his new book, I have been silenced.
Yeah.
That literally is right now. It's these personalities that are, like you said, they're going out and they're controlling the narrative. And instead of, it's not a debate. It's not a debate. It literally is a circus, and we're more pawns in it than we are players. So, anyways, I want
to go. I'm afraid.
Yeah, I know you do, and I thank you for coming on and talking about it.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, Martin. It's been really nice.
All right, that's Natasha Kennedy, doctor, and we're not. And see, we're the type of leftists that aren't going to denigrate PhDs. You're a doctor just like everybody else. That's a doctor.
Although I definitely don't carry out operations.
Not on people.
Not on people, no.
But on society.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
I'll talk to you again.
All right. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
Take care. All right. So that was I found that very interesting. By the way, I recorded that audio, so I'll put that up on the podcast soon. But I want to thank Natasha for coming on. I wanted I wanted to play some more video because some of these were absolutely brilliant. Let's do this. I was using Push Bullet, but now I send this stuff to myself. Actually, though, I think this is gonna open up here, so I want to play some of these. I didn't have time, like I said, I didn't have time to download them, but I think they're totally on point.
J.K. Rowling is saying that her family's address was posted on Twitter by activists in front of her house. Okay. But the Wikipedia page tells a different story. Her house is a public landmark because it was owned by my ancestors, the Douglases. J.K. Rowling, that's not your home. That's my family.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Family's home. We don't want you there anymore. You can't dox a public landmark.
Apparently,
you just can't do it. So who doxed your house? Was it your Wikipedia page? Was it your registry as a national landmark? Or was it the three activists? You tell me.
It was probably the three activists.
J.K. Rowling is saying that her family's address was posted.
So, I thought that was pretty fucking hilarious. Pretty brilliant, actually. Let's see. This one made me just almost pee myself.
You've heard of Elf on a Shelf, but have you heard of... You've heard of Elf on a Shelf, but have you heard of...
Smurf on a turf. Oh dear. Oh, I love you, TikTok. Oh my God. Let's see. Here we go. Here's this is pretty good.
Venomous
shark.
sharks found in London Thames River? What was J.K. Rowling doing in the Thames?
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's hilarious. Oh dear. Oh me, oh my. This guy makes some seriously good
Earlier
points.
today, billionaire author and avowed transphobe J.K. Rowling took to Twitter to claim that she was doxxed. She said that a group of pro-trans protesters showed up at her house and took a picture of it with the address clearly visible in order to expose her to the public. Now, I'm not interested in talking about J.K. Rowling's politics. She's made them very clear, and at this point, you know which side you're on. Get off my channel if you're a transphobe, you piece of shit. No, what I want to talk about is the fact that this story got any traction at.
And I think it was great having Natasha on, because this is exactly what she was talking about, why it's getting traction.
All, because it shouldn't have. Every diehard Harry Potter fan knows where J.K. Rowling's house is. She lives in a gigantic mansion, and it's a stop on Harry Potter tours. Like, if you're a Harry Potter fan visiting the UK, the two places you're gonna go are King's Cross and J.K. Rowling's house. And yet, if you look at those tweets from her, there are tens of thousands of people liking and sharing their support for her and saying, oh my God, I can't believe these people did this to you. And what that tells me is that J.K. Rowling has effectively replaced her entire Harry Potter fan base with a new fan base of people who are only familiar with her in the context of her TERF advocacy. Do you realize how weird that is? Like, she's a billionaire because of her writing, and yet her current fans are not fans of her because of her writing. They're just random bigots who followed her when she published an unhinged TERF manifesto. They're only supporting her because she came out in support of their bigotry. Yep. Earlier today...
Yep. So on point. And one more. Bum, 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 bum.
So yeah, JK's a shithead. But no, we shouldn't dox her. For the obvious reasons of that it helps no one and it makes the TERFs feel like they're right to feel victimised. But this whole thing with people turning up outside JK's house and her being doxed. In one quick Google search, I found out where she lives now, where she lived 5 years ago, and where she grew up. Yeah. There are articles about her house. And that's just one of many. I know that her house now has a really pretentious name. I know exactly what part of Edinburgh it's in. I know what it looks like. So can this even be considered doxing? Like, surely it's not doxing if the information is already plastered all over the internet. So yeah, JK's a shithead. But no, we shouldn't dox her.
Yeah, because we shouldn't dox her because we can't. She's not doxable. And again, I mean, it's too easy for people to make these claims of doxing. And this is this is what I find funny too. This person.
We have a crazy update in the J.K. Rowling story. She tweeted out, last Friday, my family's address was posted on Twitter by 3 activist actors who took pictures of themselves in front of our house, carefully positioning themselves to...
Does anybody know who this person is? Guess who she works for? She works for PragerU.
ensure that our address was visible. Why would somebody be doxing J.K. Rowling? Of course, for a tweet that she put out a year ago in June. This tweet that she put out again a year ago offended the transgender community because she said that sex is real. J.K. Rowling says she's lucky to have the audience that she has because they were able to report the tweet enough to get it taken down. But so many other women who criticize the ideology of the transgender community and talk about the reality of sex do not have that luxury.
Literally. Like, who is defending you? Who's defending you? Yeah. MAMLB in the chat says JK supported in her Twitter thread complaining about her doxing people who have actually doxed people. Yeah. Shocking. I mean, that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's not really surprising. It's not shocking. The fact that this came on and I want to point something out too. This TikTok is about trans stuff, but to me, this is really important. So it says gatekeeping hormones / surgeries is more about doctors' fear of getting sued, less about validating who is truly trans.
Oh my god, citation needed.
And literally citation. I love this creator, Professor Kennan. I think we ought to get him on a show. But preventing transition regret and institutional ethnography of gender affirming medical care assessment practices in Canada. So let's speed that up to see what it says right there. Highlights. Gender affirming medical care is built around prevention of transition regret. Clinical assessments reflect clinicians' fear of liability. There is scant evidence that detransition is caused by medical failure, including trans and detransition people in gender affirming include trans and detransition people in gender affirming care research. So yeah. M.A. Melby. All right, you said Marion Miller. Who are you talking about? This person here? This person is actually is this person. Professor Kennan, PhD, MSW on the ticks and the talks. Oh. Marion Miller. Oh. To be honest with you, I'm not sure about that one. Stop it. But that being said, not the good professor. Meanwhile, what always blows me away is like this is literally what's going on right now.
Hey, my loves, quick video. Black trans lives are in a state of emergency, especially Black trans women and transgender women of color. We still are not finished with 2021. We haven't even got to 2022 yet. We haven't even got to Thanksgiving yet. And it's the deadliest year for gender nonconforming transgender people, especially Black trans women and transgender women of color. We need to get the message out. We need more videos reposted. We need we need these stories told more. I'm tired of seeing my trans siblings and my trans sisters being shot in their home or, beaten or it's time out for it. Let's put some action to these words and let's make it be known. Let's make this. We need more visibility and we need more protection. Black trans lives are in a state of emergency.
Hey. I think that's pretty spot on. So anyways, that's more of, we're an hour into this and I haven't even got to any fucking content that I originally downloaded for the show, which I think is pretty funny and good. But I did want to finish watching this.
If we let them win, we'll be complicit in rolling back the hard-fought-for rights of women and in tearing down the sacred pillar of free speech that holds Britain up as a society.
The hard-won rights that literally people that are on her side fought against.
And will also be complicit in taking Britain back to a level of discourse fit for the Dark Ages. These three activists who posted Rowling's address were so audacious, they uploaded the pictures on their own Twitter accounts with their faces in full view. Well, they've since deleted their Twitter accounts like the cowards they are. J.K. Rowling is on the right side of history, and I will stand with her and everyone else who wants to fight the tyranny of these lunatic radicals till the bitter end.
Yeah, good luck with that. I don't usually say it, but this shit's evil. It's fucking evil. But yeah. I did want to actually talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse case and the stuff that's going on there. I saw this recently. Our Retro Waves on TikTok made a really good point about.
I just heard a moment ago. Do you have any reaction? I didn't watch the trial, so I. Do you stand by your past comments equating him to white supremacy? Well, look, I stand by what the jury has concluded. The jury system works, and we have to abide by it.
And one last thing before I sign off and get out of this app for 5 more fucking days. This system is doing exactly what it's intended to do. Your fucking president just said it. Motherfuckers who protest against the state are deemed automatically as targets now. So don't argue with me. I'm not arguing with motherfuckers no more about this shit. They're telling you right in your fucking face, and if you don't see it, I don't know what to fucking tell you. They're letting you know.
I think that's pretty spot on. Pretty spot on. And this also is on point. It's from Retro.
As far as this fucking verdict goes, I'm not happy about it, but I'm not angry. I'm not upset. We all saw this fucking coming. I have like this certain level of peace, fully understanding that these systems and these institutions that are placed in this country were never designed to uphold justice. That's not to say I'm content about it. It's like these fucking people don't realize that when these politicians are yelling out things like law and order for you to repeat back to them, it's just a fucking dog whistle for your dumb ass. You guys want vigilantes to go out and do what they want to people exercising their First Amendment right. Listen to your fucking selves. If you go out and you protest against the state will then give permission to vigilantes to go out and do their fucking dirty work for them. I know you've been indoctrinated to believe that's right, but think a little bit, please.
That's what we're talking about, even in this case. Because, I mean, look at this shit. This comes from LGBTQ Nation. J.K. Rowling unleashes her millions of followers on 3 activists who protested outside of her house. J.K. Rowling compared the quiet protests to rape threats. The activists have disappeared from social media after being hounded by the author's fans. J.K. Rowling condemned 3 transgender equality activists who protested outside her home on the Transgender Day of Remembrance, comparing their protests to rape threats and sending her 14 million followers on Twitter to attack them. The transgender equality activists have already deleted social media accounts or made them private. Comedian Holly Stars, actor Georgia Frost and drag performer Richard Energy protested in front of Rowling's home this past Friday with signs that read "Trans Liberation Now," "Don't Be a Sissy," and "Trans Rights are Human Rights," according to Pink News. They were responding to Rowling's long history of transphobia, where she has repeatedly attacked the validity of trans identities, portraying trans women as a threat to cis women's safety, and even promoted vile merchandise with anti-transgender messages. On Twitter this morning, the Harry Potter author claimed that her address was visible in the photo and that these three performers posted online, going so far as to accuse them of carefully positioning themselves to ensure the address was visible. In her Twitter thread, Rowling said she called the police, although she did not say what the activist did was illegal. She compared herself to several other prominent writers who have made anti-LGBTQ and particularly anti-transgender statements, including Julie Bindel, Kathleen Stock, Marion Miller, and Rachel Sanchez. She said that the writers have been subject to campaigns of intimidation, which range from being hounded on social media, the targets of their employers, all the way up to doxing and direct threats of violence, including rape. And that's the thing I keep going back to. If this is the case, then go after them. Where are the authorities? They're being hounded on social media by who? By these three trans activists that are now off of social media effectively. So, I mean, I implore those people who retweeted the image with the address still visible, even if they did so in condemnation of these people's actions, to delete it. What a fucking joke. Her house is like fucking Graceland. It is a stop on tours. You can't make this up. And now I've received so many death threats I could paper my house with them, and I haven't stopped speaking out. Perhaps I'm just throwing this out there. The best way to prove your movement isn't a threat to women is to stop stalking, harassing, and threatening us. Fuck you. That is ridiculous. Like, no one online. I mean, the thing is, when people actually go after her, she goes after them legally. Let's have a look. Rowling, free speech. So there was this and unfortunately Noam Chomsky added his name to it, but signs this letter warning about free speech, right? So literally so let's take that out. And then silenced lawyer lawsuit. Let's see what this brings up. So this says file turf free speech advocate J.K. Rowling sued and silenced website for pointing out she has harmed trans people with her transphobia. Oh gosh. And it says she has raised a court action and forced the website to apologize and pay damages, albeit in the form of a charity donation. She has been successful. Winning a court case does not necessarily involve a judge making a decision and a legal precedent being set. No, it's intimidation. If somebody comes with you in this country, the way libel laws work, if you don't have money, you're fucked. And she has a war chest. And trans activists have shit. And these websites, I mean, they're surviving on nothing, on scraps. Believe me. I've written for places like this, and they are not money-making machines. Anyways, it's not shocking. It's not surprising. But at the same time, it's the boy crying wolf. And then going and buying a wolf costume. Oh God. MMLB says the fact that she has to use those sort of examples to try to prove her persecution narrative is telling. Yeah, it is. Like the protest was definitely low key, and she took it an angle and turned it into something that it wasn't, and is using the press again because she's making these claims that aren't substantiated. She doesn't have to substantiate them. I mean, this is like Julie Bendel. Julie Bendel made a claim that someone in an airport, let's look, airport Julie Bendel, and let's say attacked. We'll use that. Feminist speak. Here we go in the fucking media. Feminist speaker Julie Bendel attacked by transgender person at Edinburgh University after a talk. Then when you read it, when you actually read it, she wasn't touched. She wasn't punched in the face. Almost punched in the face. She was lunged at. Somebody wanted to talk to her and disagreed with her. Oh my God, someone disagreed with me. And again, this is a fucking narrative. You know, there wasn't an assault. No charges were brought. You're saying that she was attacked by a transgender person. She was not. If she was attacked, she could have brought, charges would have been brought. There were no charges brought against this person. Why? I mean, they did shout saying, you're an effing C word and a fucking turf. Those are words. I mean, are they any worse than the stuff literally that turfs will, I mean, literally Posey Parker saying that she hopes trans women die. I do have the image somewhere of her saying that. She literally said, that it was about HRT. Anyways, let's see, Posey Parker, HRT. Yep. Here she is. Estrogen patch for menopause linked to higher heart disease risks. And she said, I wonder what the effect on men is. Hopefully death. Yeah. So, I mean, this bullshit rhetoric goes both ways, but to say it's violent is bullshit. I mean, these are people that literally, I mean, I want you to see Julie Bendel. Julie Bendel is the person that said, Julie Bendel. Oh, fuck. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Again. It's this narrative. She was see, this is still fucking up. This is 2019. 2 years later, it's still up. It's a lie. A high-profile feminist writer has alleged she was physically attacked by a trans activist after speaking at a university. She wasn't attacked. She was lunged at. Somebody came up and wanted to discuss stuff with her, and they were angry about it. They were angry at her transphobia. I do think it's kind of ironic that her alleged attacker's name is Kathy Brennan. Oh, dear. Insisted she did not raise a fist. She had only sought to speak face to face with a person who has caused great harm to trans people across this country. Bendel, co-founder of Justice for Women, told The Independent, I've done a talk on women and resisting male violence. It was about how one of the things that unites women everywhere, women and girls, is the threat and the reality of male violence, and that I'd be happy to stop calling myself a woman as soon as we weren't oppressed and disadvantaged for that. That's the fucking thing that kills me about that. You can say I'm not a woman, but the violence that I have to deal with all the time, like I was this fucking, and I got this on, if you don't believe me, you can go to my fucking TikToks and you can look at it. A guy tried to assault me. The only reason he didn't, he lunged at me. The only reason he didn't is because I pulled my phone out and said I had a bunch of TikTok followers and he was going to be TikTok famous, and he backed the fuck off. But he still was trying to follow me into work. Does she have that every day? Does she have that kind of thing happen to her? Again, the punch had come within inches of her face. Bendel said she was shaken but not physically harmed by the incident. Again. And she said that she did lose her shit at Julie Bendel, but added, the truth of the matter is I did not raise a fist. I attempted to push past security so I could speak face to face with a person who has caused great harm to trans people across this country. Police Scotland could not confirm to where investigating Police Scotland could not confirm to where investigating the incident. That's just bad fucking copy. The group previously said it was disappointed and angry to see the university once again being made unwelcome for trans people. Again and again. It's tiresome because what happened was somebody was angry with Julie Bindel and tried to address her and did it in a way that they didn't like. Oh, my camera froze. 3 minutes ago. But you guys can still hear me, right? I hope you can still hear me. I think you can. So I will fix that. I think literally I can fix that by just going boopity boop, boopity boop. Oh no, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Let's try this. Let's try this. Deactivate. Activate. No. Come on. Activate. Oh, you little booger. Anyways. My USB camera, it died. Well, and you can see me here as well. So yeah, I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absurd. Jamie J, welcome. I have so much more shit to play, but actually, we're coming up on 11. I kind of want to save some of this stuff and slide down to Comedy Mountain. Yeah, this is my actually, I think I can. I don't want to mess with that. Why? Why did that do? No, bad dog. I just Jamie, you're so funny. Are you upset? Are you upset? What? That she owns that or what? Let's take that brightness down. No, god damn it. I can't believe I just did that. I'm killing my video here. Because I took the exposure down. There we go. Bam, bam. Anyways. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Ah, no. Bad dog. That'll do. By the way, so... oh, fuck. This camera isn't working. So, bump. So this here is my green screen, right? Down below. God. So, yeah, you can't see it. God damn it. Here. So I got something new. Right there. It is my desk. I got a new desk. Yeah, I'm a light. Some kind of light. I got a new desk I'm really excited about. It's literally it rises and lowers. So it's going to be a project. I get the desktop delivered on Sunday, I think. So this time next week, I'll have my new setup, and I'll actually probably be standing. The thing is, I like to stand, and I think it'll give some different camera perspectives. And I think I'll be able to move things around a little better. Because I'm going to have more room on this desk. So we'll see. But I'm excited about it. Yeah, we don't have 4th of July in the UK either. I mean, we do have the date, but we don't have the celebration of... Oh, I think that's hilarious. But I really am liking my new setup. There are some burps. I'll be honest with you. There are some burps with, but I did get my desk, but the bigger one for me is the Elgato Stream Deck, and that's been really. I could do a lot of fun stuff. I mean. Oh, did I just apparently my Stream Deck is dead too. Jesus Christ. Technical difficulties ain't the word. Elgato. ELGATO. Oh. So, Marty, what do you have to celebrate the horrible things the UK does? I think that's the 5th of November, maybe. I don't know. You know what's Jordan Joan P said, I hate Thanksgiving. You know, actually, I do have some advice on this. If you hate Thanksgiving, honestly, the best thing that you can do is listen to or watch TV or listen to TV in a foreign country. I used to get really depressed back in the day before my son lived with me. I used to get really down in the dumps. But that stopped when I basically just said, you know what? It's just a day. And it is true. It is just a day. And you can realize that by just literally tuning in to, and I used to do it all the time when I would get upset, because basically you hear other people just living their lives on a day that, you know, I mean, it's just another day. It's a fucking Jamie J. The 5th of November is celebrating the anniversary of the arrest of a terrorist who tried to make Britain more Catholic and less Protestant. Yeah, the irony of that. So, and Jonathan said, I'm going to dinner with my family tomorrow, but if the topic comes up or I bring it up, I will mention about the horrible history of this holiday. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You know, the reality is The actual reality is that holidays don't have, I mean, Christmas is not about Jesus. Halloween isn't about evil spirits. Holidays are for people to have time off work, to eat food, to have sex, and to party. To celebrate either the coming of spring or the coming of fall. That's it. It's a reason to celebrate. And these things literally, I mean, Jamie J. You know, I'm so fucking sick of the word terrorists. Oh shit. I'm sad. Because my Stream Deck literally just pooped as well.
I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
There we go.
Wow, what an asshole!
You know, I was reading about this. Biden invites Taiwan to upcoming summit. And like, you're talking about, a country that is trying to force, I mean, because you can argue whether Taiwan, it even says it in this piece, Taiwan, which the U.S. does not officially recognize as a sovereign nation, was included in a list of 110 invitees to a virtual summit. They don't even recognize them as a country, but they're inviting them. Like, it's literally provoking the Chinese. I'm just here. Here. Let's actually play this, because this is to understand this.
Let's talk about Taiwan and the Taiwan Strait, because right now these waters aren't exactly calm.
US ships have been transiting the strait monthly, angering Beijing.
China sending nearly 150 warplanes into Taiwan's air defense zone, forcing Taiwan's fighter jets to scramble.
With Taiwan caught in a kind of tug of war between the US and China, there are genuine fears about where this could all end up.
The only way that the US and China would go to war would be over Taiwan.
So why is Taiwan such a flashpoint between two of the world's biggest powers? Why is the island not officially considered a country? And what do microchips have to do with it all? Taiwan is an island stuck in a kind of political limbo. It's a democratic, self-governing territory. Just over the water is China, which claims Taiwan as its own, but many Taiwanese take issue with that. Then you add in the US, which has taken on the role of neighborhood cop, and you end up with Taiwan as the focus for many big competing interests. But to understand how we got here, you have to know the backstory. Taiwan was ruled by Imperial China for 200 years. Then Japan had it for 50 years after winning a war against China. But when Japan lost in World War II, China, one of the victors, got Taiwan back again. Then you had the Chinese Civil War. Mao Zedong's communist forces took over the mainland, while the other side, the nationalist forces of Chiang Kai-shek, escaped to Taiwan. So in 1949, China sort of split in two. And you had two rival governments, one in Taiwan, one in Beijing, both claiming they were the true government of China. The side in Taiwan was known as the Republic of China, the ROC, and that's still the island's official name today. And on the mainland, the Communist Party declared a brand new Chinese state, the People's Republic of China, PRC for short. Now remember, the US wasn't exactly a fan of communism. And so it was the ROC in Taiwan that mostly got the international recognition, including a seat at the UN. But by the 1970s, that seat didn't really make sense anymore. The UN passed a resolution confirming the representatives from the PRC as the only lawful representatives of China to the United Nations. And so the ROC was out.
We are being deserted. We are being forsaken.
So what does all this mean for Taiwan's political status today? Well, it leaves it in that limbo we talked about at the beginning. Now, from Beijing's perspective, it's pretty clear. China is one country and Taiwan is part of it. Right now, the island governs itself, but Beijing's position is that eventually it'll be reunited with the mainland. And lately, Chinese President Xi Jinping has been emphasizing that a lot and linking it to his big policy known as national rejuvenation.
台独分裂是祖国统一的最大障碍，是民族复兴的严重隐患。
So what about Taiwan's status according to Taiwan? Well, the president, Tsai Ing-wen, and her party have never fully accepted the idea that Taiwan is a part of China. But at the same time, they're not explicitly pushing for Taiwan to be recognized as independent. It is a bit of a fudge, really. They say that Taiwan is effectively independent, so they just want things to stay the way they are.
我们也会全力阻止现状被片面改变。
Okay, so what about the US? Well, their position is also a bit of a fudge. It even has an official name, strategic ambiguity. On the one hand, they do acknowledge that Taiwan is a part of China and not an independent country. There's no official US embassy in Taipei, for example. But on the other hand, they sort of want China to leave Taiwan alone. And the US has suggested they would defend Taiwan militarily in certain circumstances.
There are reports that the United States has made clear to China that it would defend Taiwan if Chinese attack is unprovoked. And on the flip side, that it's made clear to Taiwan that it will not come to Taiwan's aid if the Chinese attack is provoked.
So that's the big picture. If things spin out of control, we could potentially be talking about a war between the US and China. It means that when things are tense around Taiwan, it's a big deal. And things have been getting tense. Under President Donald Trump, the US got a lot cozier with Taiwan than previous presidents. And Biden's administration has effectively continued in the same direction. Over in Taiwan, the political climate shifted in 2016 when President Tsai Ing-wen took over from a pro-Beijing president. She's been pretty outspoken against Beijing. And the question of Taiwan's status has taken on new significance after people in Taiwan saw what China did in Hong Kong.
The people of Taiwan saw what they treated Hong Kong. We just realized that their promises, it's not something we can trust.
Hong Kong has been completely absorbed into China. The last remaining piece that is missing is Taiwan.
Then you add the fact that both Taiwan and China are expanding their military. So when we see headlines about China flying 150 warplanes near Taiwan and the US, according to this Wall Street Journal report, secretly deploying troops there, well, it's no small thing.
The potential for war does exist. I do not think it is very high, but I do believe it is growing.
And there are a few other factors that raise the stakes even higher when we're talking about Taiwan. First up, its location. It sits in what's called the first island chain in the Western Pacific that extends to Japan in the north, all the way down to Indonesia in the south, going.
So you get the point. I literally, when I was playing that, I literally figured out I got this camera to work again. Hopefully we don't freeze. But yeah, the reality of all this is that the U.S. is fomenting war. I don't really know if that's the smartest thing. I mean, yes, the U.S. is one of the biggest manufacturers of military weaponry. But do you really want the largest manufacturer in the world to start cranking out weapons instead of fucking sweatshop t-shirts? Well, here's the thing, M.A. Melby. By the way, just as an FYI, I know M.A. Melby's actual name, and but whatever you guys put into chat, that's what I'm going to use to refer to you as, because I feel like that's what that's your identity on here, so that's what I'm going to use. But I don't think China's perfect, but they aren't the United States. They literally are not an imperial power. Do you know what I mean? I mean, so all this from the standpoint of the United States, saying that, what in the fuck are they? Look where this is at. Look where this is at. I mean, you could say it was near California. That's literally, that's the only thing you could say. Well, it's kind of the Pacific Ocean. It's near it. I'm just like, fuck. Like, there is no reason. And Jamie J says, DYK, don't you know? Strategic ambiguity is Israel's policy on the border with Palestine, on their borders with Palestine. Yeah. It is the same thing. That's so weird. Streamers usually call me Jam or that one hoe from the New Year's. I didn't get invited to your New Year's party. I feel sad. Well, MLB said there is a lot of propaganda about trying to deflect from our own sins and imperfections. We literally fucking exploded a nuclear warhead. 2. If there's anybody on this fucking planet that are terrorists, it's the United States. I keep going back to this, but fucking, it literally, it is the truth. I mean, some of these are fucking hilarious. There's one, I fucking can't find it, but basically, America sees itself as the rebellion, and they're the fucking empire. You know? The United States is literally the empire. I don't know about this one. How the rest of the world see. I think the United States sees. Oh God, these are fucking hilarious. Let's go to the photos, just the photos, because this is liable to be. Oh, are there none? I really wanted to see this. Oh God, of course. Anyways. M.A. Melby says, basically wanting masculine men only to be broadcast on TV. What does he even mean? Anyways. It's a flesh wound. Anyways, yeah. Oh wow. This is the reality. Yep. That's the reality. And let's see if I can. I mean, the reality in this, the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing, retro.
I said I wasn't going to open this app again, and I lied. But you know what? I'm not even going to argue with motherfuckers no more. You want to say he's an American hero? You're absolutely fucking right, he is. Every core value that this country was founded on, he represents it.
White supremacy,
and the
slavery.
day that he decided to leave his house, have his mom drive across state lines to defend property that he did not own, is the day that he became the personification of what America stands for. It's right in your fucking face, people. Like, they're not even quiet about it anymore. So now whenever I come across people that want to call this kid an American hero, you know what? You're right. This is exactly what America is. You're abso-fucking-lutely right.
And I think that's totally on point. And Biden saying the judicial system is working. That I think he's honest about that.
Hey, come here, let me tell you something. It's quite fucking funny, right? I'm going to assume that you are right-leaning just based on this view that you hold. And it's funny to me that the party that say that they are full of free thinkers get all of their ideas shaped by the fucking media. You say that people like me that tend to have left-leaning views get all of our ideas from the liberal media, right? How many BLM supporters have you actually spoken to? Or was your idea of the movement been shaped by the fucking media? I'm sure your ass don't live in a neighborhood where this shit is happening. You turn on the fucking news and you decide to get mad at what you see on the TV. None of you people knew that Colin Kaepernick was kneeling until the news decided to cover it. The way you people view coronavirus wasn't this way until the news decided to cover it the way that they did. All of your views have been shaped by the state through way of a corporate media. Everything that all of you are upset about, I can find a mainstream news article telling your ass to be mad about it.
Yep. It's and literally that's what's happening with China. You know?
I'm gonna be honest. When people say they're moderates, I don't always know like what that means. Like, not only are there maybe a few different kinds of moderates, but I just can't even put myself in the headspace of like I don't know how a person becomes a moderate, but I will tell you this. If your number one issue is a stop to the violence, if you want the violence to end, you should probably root for the left. There will be violence in the future. There's no way around that. But the right's ideology at the core of it is really based on hate. They're based on who's better, which are the better humans that deserve the better things. And at the core of the left, it's all about helping people that need help, because we know that there's no reason we can't. Because houselessness, lack of food, there shouldn't be hungry kids, there shouldn't be people who can't afford to have teeth in their head. All of these things are violence. Only when the left win will violence end.
What I think's interesting is what and by the way, I'm trying to plug my phone in so it doesn't die. So I'm trying to get my USB cord here plugged in, but that's not working real well. Yeah, there we go. What did MLK say in a letter from a Birmingham jail? What did he say about moderates? I must confess that over the past few years, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro stumbling block in his stride towards freedom is not the white citizens counselor or the Ku Klux Klanner, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with the goals you seek, but I cannot agree with your method of direct action, who paternalistically believes he can set a timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by a mythical concept of time, and who constantly advises the Negro to wait for a more convenient season. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than the absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection. I had hoped that the white moderate would understand that law and order exists for the purpose of establishing justice, and that when they fail in this purpose, they become the dangerously constructed dams that block the flow of social progress. I had hoped that the white moderate would understand that the present tension in the South is a necessary phase of transition from an obnoxious negative peace in which the Negro passively accepts his unjust plight to a substantive and positive peace in which all men will respect the dignity and worth of human personality. Actually, we who engage in nonviolent direct action are not the creators of tension. We merely bring to the surface the hidden tension that is already alive. We bring it out in the open where it can be seen and dealt with. Like a boil that can never be cured so long as it is covered up, we must also open up all its ugliness to the natural medicines of air and light. Injustice must be exposed, and the tension it exposes, its exposure creates to the light of human conscience and the air of national opinion before it can be cured. And I think that's spot on. So, yeah. Moderates are enablers. You better believe it. You better believe it. Jamie said, I will never stop complaining about people saying the right is about hate. They don't hate me. They don't care about me enough to hate me. They just feel entitled to power over me. And that's what 99% of this is about. This is why This is why you have to stand up for immigrants. You have to stand up for Black people. You, as a LGBT person in the LGBT community. This is why you stand up for Indigenous rights. It's not specifically because it's going to help you. It's because the idea is about bodily autonomy. It's about justice for all. And y'all are talking about New Year's party. And I didn't get invited. So fuck y'all. Anyways, it's almost bedtime for me. I'm going to end the show. But we're going to slide down some Comedy Mountain. Although the funniest shit was the turf stuff, but let's go down Comedy Mountain.
Okay, let's go. I will stop pretending.
By the way, this right here is a thing on TikTok. Basically, you throw the pins at this cup, and if what you're saying at the time, if you get it into the cup, it'll come true. If you miss it, then it won't.
To be a woman and tricking men and defying God's divine law. I am a man of my word.
Oh, man.
James, are you trying to get out? Okay, right. This is James. The comment section did not disappoint. Hold on. She said, ma'am, that's a full-grown man you have trapped in that swing. Holy bread rolls thighs. He's a full Thanksgiving meal on his own.
James need to file his taxes. That's literally Joe Rogan. Holy bread roll thighs. He's a full Thanksgiving meal on his own. That is one beautiful baby. Why does he look like he's from the 90s? That ain't no James. That's Mr. Jamerson.
That ain't no James. That's Mr. Jamerson. I can't breathe. Oh, he gets better. He did not skip leg day. Was about to walk his way.
James is late for his shift at Lowe's. He missed his WWE match.
Let me out, woman. I got bills to pay. Wait, James is late for his shift for Lowe's. What's wrong with y'all people? Leave that baby alone. The baby's 4 months.
4 months. This man is at least 39 years old at minimum.
That man is at least 39 years old. Oh, he's it. I can't. Oh, his credit score is most definitely 800. He's trying to clock in for his 9 to 5. I believe it. I believe it. Babies need to work too. They got bills to pay. Okay, wait. James. James is a taxpaying citizen. Stop. Oh God, I'm crying. Let me get myself together, bye. He's late for work. Just leave the baby alone. Just leave him alone. It's the best one. He's trying to get him to see what's in the refrigerator. Help me. Man, a beer. I'm done. I can't. I'm messing up my makeup. He's on his way to the doctor.
This baby is a cross-country trucker, and he's late for work. He got places to be. He's on his way to the doctor to check his cholesterol. James has a past life as a milk farmer with his wife, 6 kids, and a pet cow that never listened. Oh, God.
To check his cholesterol. Y'all are mean. The baby's a cross-country trucker, and he's late for work. He got places to be again. I'm just going to let y'all read it because I'm messing up my makeup. I got shit to do, and I want to be cute doing it.
Try being my size, mommy. You don't know how it is. That isn't James. That's Jimbo. James looks like a warehouse supervisor. Very nice. Very nice.
Pause to read. I'm sorry, James. They shouldn't be talking to babies like that. But they hella funny. They hella funny with it.
Very, very true. Very true. Oh.
The term boo that we even use in this demonic holiday, Halloween, is actually a Norwegian term, which means my raper.
Wow.
When a woman says to her boyfriend or fiance or husband, "You're my boo," what she's saying, "You're my raper." But she doesn't know this because people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge.
Right.
Boo not only is a Norwegian term meaning my raper, it means to put a pin in the heart of the man. And thirdly, it means to place a curse. But women don't know. So 95% of language, dialect, and speech is connected to a curse. That's why God has risen me up, Apostle Wendy, to change the trajectory of global language.
Oh, dear. Oh, my God. YouTube ate your lunch, it ate your homework. But you know what? Woke Fatty comes in with the fucking, man, I love Woke Fatty because he is on point almost all the time.
My friend, I can promise you, leftists like me are not why Democrats lose elections. Democrats lose elections because of Democrats. Democrats beg for your vote every 4 years, and they fearmonger you to vote against red, blue no matter who, and then they do nothing. They give you nothing to vote for and nothing to support. Liberals are the definition of all bark, no bite. Democrats have nobody to blame but themselves, not people like me and my community.
Yup. And Bogwitch, man, she nails it here.
And I want to preface this for any anarchists watching by saying that I was an anarcho-communist, but I came to realize that it is idealistic in the sense that we can't apply it to our material reality. That isn't something that we should be striving for off the bat. We need to take a realistic approach to the solutions to our problems. If we think in context of the most vulnerable people in our society and what we need to guarantee to them, their biggest threat in a post-collapse world would be fascism and the use of military force. Without an authority to combat fascism post-collapse, we would be screwed. Revolutions enforce an authority. That is an objective fact. No revolution that hasn't enforced an authority has lasted. There would be no new China without the CCP, and I'm not saying that the CCP as it stands is currently communist, but they are working towards socialism in some form. They're doing a hell of a lot more for their people than we are for our people. Instead, we have to have conversations like this, and I'm not talking about the commenter specifically, but the fact that communists and anarchists constantly, in the West specifically, fight over the same dumb shit all the time. Both sides are guilty of reactionary thought. Both sides have a problem with the way they relay their points. But the serious problem with anarchists that I find is that they always assume that someone like me wants them dead in a revolution. And the thing I find really insulting about that is that a lot of the time, those anarchists are white. Get over yourself. You do realize there are people way, way more vulnerable than you right fucking now. And their rights need to be guaranteed by an authority. And you cannot guarantee rights without an authority. And I know a lot of people have the mentality that rights are birthright, that human rights cannot be taken away from you. But they very well can, realistically. States do it all the time. We live in America. No matter what development level a society is at, institutions are always an indispensable guarantee of social fairness and justice.
Anyways, the point here, I go back to the same fucking thing. I go back to something that Black Bloc Politics spoke to. We're all fucking doomed souls. And you can have these arguments about, you know, tankies aren't going to be our problem. The fucking fascists are. Anyways, this is something that I actually like, though.
Do we really want Antifa controlling our police departments?
Yes.
Politicians are telling police to stand down.
Haha, based.
Letting Antifa take over entire city blocks.
Also based.
If police departments are defunded, who will be the first on the scene for traffic accidents?
Literally first responders. Did they not cover this in Police Academy?
If police are defunded, who will be there when you're being followed? Or someone wants to get into your home?
Probably a gun. The cops can't teleport there instantly.
If police are defunded, who will be there to stop Antifa from destroying our system and creating their own?
No one.
Fucking Antifa. Oh, yeah. Well, and that's kind of MMLB. That's kind of what I was getting at. We have to fucking stop worrying about them. We have people that are in front of us that literally, I mean, that literally, let me see if I can find this. This is the kind of shit we have coming down the pike.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think when President John F. Kennedy went to the summit in Vienna with Nikita Khrushchev, do you think he crapped his britches? I mean, do you think when President Nixon was negotiating a strategic arms limitation with the Russians, Leonid Brezhnev, do you think he soiled his pantaloons? I mean, when Jimmy Carter was at Camp David with Anwar Sadat and Menachem Begin, knocking out the Camp David Accords for peace in the Middle East, do you think he was making room for lunch? I guarantee you one thing, when Donald Trump visited the Queen of England, he wasn't dropping a deuce. No, it's the sad truth. Before he met the Pope, Joe Biden crapped his pants, and now all America is shitting a brick.
What?
Forgive me, Lord.
What?
The term boo that we even use in this demonic holiday Halloween.
God is anointing those that are standing up with an incredible boldness and an authority. And yet we still have immature Christians who you say something bold or something that touches on politics and they don't think, well, that shouldn't be mentioned in the church. And my question is, well, then where do you really think that you're going to hear the truth about the culture or about what's happening in your government? Do you think you're going to hear it from the news? You haven't heard it from the news. So let's grow up and realize that there was never a separation between church and state. That is not what our founding fathers intended. In fact, the signing of the Declaration was many preachers that caused themselves to come together and get involved in politics.
We're facing a federal government that, let's face it, is tyrannical.
Oh, yeah.
It is tyrannical.
The government is tyrannical.
Guys, this is the type of government the Second Amendment was made for. That's right. Let's make that plain.
This is literally the lieutenant governor of North Carolina.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh my God.
Every fascist that gets acquitted of murder just emboldens all the rest of the fascists to be even more belligerent and violent in their behavior.
And I think that's on point. Like literally the stuff that's happening now is fucking it's white supremacy and it's fascism. It's molding into a fucking movement. And I mean, it's funny, for the longest time I used to be anti-gun, but if I was in America right now, I'm not kidding you, I would own a firearm. I just would. Not because I think government can be defeated by it, but because these motherfuckers are gonna come for people like me. That's just a fact.
You know, liberalism really is a mental disease. And now I didn't say Democrats. There are some good Democrats left in the world.
I'm excited about the growing movement, especially here in the 4th District of South Carolina, of people who are identifying themselves as just Christian conservatives, right? We got to take it back to the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I believe the people here in the 4th District of South Carolina are getting that. It's not just about being Republicans. It's about being a conservative Christian who believes this is a Christian nation, and any policy that is contrary to the Word of God, we need to remove it from mainstream America and make it illegal.
Here we go. Here we go.
This is an injection that permanently and irreversibly changes your God-given genetics. And when that happens, that means you are no longer really a human. You have now volunteered knowingly or unknowingly to participate in the transhumanism movement. And the transhumanism movement is about moving us more into artificial intelligence, having our bodies electronically connected to the Internet of Things and to the Internet of body parts, and that you can be controlled by an external source, whether that's some sort of a frequency or if it's something that looks like an Xbox handle, that you can actually be controlled and manipulated by an external source.
I'm controlling you. Oh my God. I'm controlling you. Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyways, that's the show for tonight. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for witnessing. I really want to thank M.A. Melby. You said no guns for me either, but I get why some folks own them. I understand that, but literally, I think the people they're going to come for are going to be the most marginalized. And at some point, when people, I hate to go back to V for Vendetta, but there was a couple points in that movie. What happens when people without guns meet people with guns? I don't think it's going to be the ending that happened in V for Vendetta. I think that was a little present and put a little bow on it and make it happy, but that's not what's going to happen. So I do think it's sad to say, because I'm I would have said even 3 years ago. So yeah, I mean, I understand why people don't want to have them, but at the same time, my camera's getting ready to go funky again. So I'm going to cut this short. Anyways, I love y'all. Have a great evening. Thank you for coming. Thank you for, if you want to help me out, go to teapartypodcast.com, join all the socials, or you can become a Patreon survivor. You can be a Patreon patron of the Tea Party. I would appreciate that very much. But I want to thank David Skog. I love you too, MLB, even though we haven't talked in quite a while. I miss our little dinners and perusing Madison and driving to Minnesota. Anyways, take care. Have a great night. And I hope to see you all here next Saturday. I miss you too. MLB. I will talk to you all later. Yes, we are going offline.
Thank you.